Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus, and as you can see today it's getting serious. I finally got a copy of HEXplore It, the Valley of the Dead King, so basically the first installment of the series. I don't know if I have any extra stuff. I think it's the second printing that comes with some more heroes, who really have a ton of, let's say, different characters and roles to choose from. I already have taken care of all of those, mostly at random. I think in one case I did some adjustments, but apart from that, I think these are mainly randomly selected. So I will come to the characters in a second. It's the end of our Easter holiday here in Germany. If you celebrate Easter, then happy Easter to you. If not, hopefully you still had some good time over the weekend. But yeah, I'm really now very excited to get into the game. I only played this game basically once with a 2-player game, but I thought it's a bit more fun to see more characters, which is why I decided to go with a 3-player game in this case. And I believe you can play this up to 6 players or so. But yeah, let's see how things go. And I really played a ton of games actually over the weekend. One of those was Euthia with a 3-player game, and really can't tell you how much I enjoy this game. I really have to bring this back to the channel as well. But yeah, today it's all about HEXplore It. And I already asked some of my patrons if I should get into more of the stuff, and the unanimous response was, nah, you don't really need it. You get a ton of replayability out of this box here alone. Let me know what you think. But the completionist in me, I know. And the completionist in this game, I know we're talking, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get all the stuff. But yeah, do let me know what you think, and I will then consider here accordingly. I'm not sure how well I will be doing. It's very likely that I will die basically as of turn 2 or 3, or maybe during the first turn. That's not uncommon from what I've reading. My very first playthrough went, I think, okay-ish. I didn't really stand a chance. So let's have a quick look at some of our characters here. So we have the Demonborn Divine One here, which I think was a very cool combination. I really drew these races here randomly. I think I had 2 and then I chose one of those, and I really like the combination of the Demonborn and the Divine One over here. Valor is his name. His favorite enemy is an undead. I will come to all these mechanics and terms when we get there. Also these mathematical equations here where you have to count through how strong your special abilities are can be a little bit overwhelming at first, but then ultimately it's really neatly designed actually. But I think I will also cover some of those special abilities when we get there. I decided to bring out some of the miniatures, and those miniatures are from the what was it actually? Tiny Epic Dungeons, exactly. That's the one. Just before, we are not moving this, we are using the standard miniature that comes with the game here, but I still thought let's bring out some cool of these minis, just to have someone representing them. Maybe I will also come up with some AI generated art. And as I'm also not the biggest fan of these dry erase boards, I will use them for the most part, but in respect to gold, in respect to food, I decided to come with some, let's say, replacement pieces. So I think this is from the Gates of Loyang. So this is the food. So Valor he starts the game with 6 food. I was already able to spend some gold before you actually start the game, and that's why you already see some updates on some of those, some armor updates. And on top of this, I also decided to print out, let's say, a whole bunch of these cards that a very cool user on BGG more or less made available to us. WVD, I think Robin, but thanks so much for making these available. Then we have Nymera, the Scoundrel Pixie, also a very cool combination. Again, I drew 2 cards and I really like the combination here, which is why I totally left her. Also miniature from Tiny Epic Dungeons, really works very well. Again, I will cover those special abilities. I really like her special ability. Reminds me a little bit of Gloomhaven, where you also said various times in the game, rather pick up a coin than really help you or your friends in the dungeon. And I think this is also the role that the Scoundrel Nymera here will play. And last but not least, we have Elwyn, the Elven Summoner here. Also a very cool miniature. I was really happy that all of these miniatures somehow fit to that. And also the roles in here, this is something I wanted to make sure we have basically all the roles represented. So I think this is more of like the striker, not really the tank, but really someone who is doing a lot of damage output from what I understood. Her favorite opponent is Magical Nature in this case. I already did, yeah, I think we have some out actually. So maybe we really want to fight those, because again, fighting in this game is ultimately important to level up your characters. You get all kinds of rewards and whatnot, and this is what this game is really. You have to make your hero strong enough to ultimately face the Dead King here, who will come out actually, or could come out basically at the end of round 1 already. So this is something of a very, very swingy element of the game. And if he's coming out rather soon, then things could get relatively ugly soon. But let's see how things go. And I also decided that I will only play until one of our heroes dies, or if we are really ultimately successful. I really don't want to go through the hassle to create a new hero. Maybe if we do have some, let's say there are some revival spells and what, maybe even the divine one can do that in combat from what I understood, then maybe I could consider doing this once or so. But again, when they're out, then I will really stop playing this game, because I think this can be a relatively long game. A little bit depends on how things go. Again, if the Dead King comes out after round 1 and he's chasing us like crazy, things could really turn sideways relatively soon, and then we will most likely not be strong enough to liberate these cities here again, which he will take over the white ones here, and then I think we might be out of luck. As usual, I will explain everything as I go. I will still try to make things quick, because the ultimate game structure is really relatively simple. I would say the complexity really comes with tons and tons of different, let's say, special abilities and cards and circumstances. The rulebook, while being a very strange format, actually has a lot in it, but you also have to read it very, very carefully. In some cases you really have to rely then on these placards here, which guide you through the turn. I did struggle with it, but I think ultimately I did figure it out, and I think it's already falling apart. This is really not a great rulebook actually from a format here, but I will try to make it do. And before I get started, huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members. You guys are truly amazing. Can't tell you how much I appreciate your support. This is also true for all my former patrons. Hopefully you're still sticking around. Really appreciate all your support as well. And now let's dive into the game. A lot of things in this game are decided based on a die roll, and so we determined the starting location for our heroes, which is Restwindale. I'm not sure if this is the capital or so, but yeah, that's basically this. The hex symbol is a 6 on this die. It's also an exploding die, or hexploding die in this instance. Really, really funny. So this is where we will start the game, and I think this is where we were extremely lucky, because we also have a ton of different quests already out here on the board. All of the quests, I believe, yes, all of them are actually here on the board. Later on, we could encounter a quest down here, which would be on a tile that's not yet explored in this case, which really happened to me in my, let's say, earlier game, where I think I only had 2 quests out, and they were at the distant side of the map actually. So here I'm really extremely lucky, and again, you need to go through these quests in order to power up your characters. That is really, really crucial. And down here we actually do have a quest that we can explore relatively easily. This one here, it's an exploration quest. We will go through the narrative once we get there, and we will be able to make it there with one single move, and we can even move cautiously, which is of course amazing for the very first round of the game. This is what you need to do in order to get to the places, so you're not completely overrun by some of these pesky circumstances over here. Because if you're moving, you can more or less ignore at least most of those circumstances. There are various kind of circumstances. I think these are all encounters, so basically enemies. And this is, I think, the highest ranking one. It's a level 5 Undead Bone Legion. If we would stumble into those at the very first round of the game, we would be more or less gone. But the good thing is you can try to escape in this game. So, the very first thing that you do during a game turn is to move. The group moves together as one unit. You can also camp, which gives you some life points back, obviously. You can move cautiously, you can move normally, and you can move recklessly. Moving recklessly at the start of the game, pretty sure that's, let's say, not a best idea. So I think I will try to move cautiously. You're moving slowly and carefully. Move either one hex, which is always considered to be moving carefully, or move your normal speed following a river and or a road. And I think that's exactly what we are doing here. We are moving up to 4 spaces with a normal one. With a horse, I think you can move up to 5 spaces. We can try to, I think we can buy cheap horses down here, or cheaper horses down here, but we don't have any money right now, so let's not bother. So we are moving 1, 2, 3, 4 because we are moving across a river and or a road. And this also does, that's I think something that was somewhat putting me off when I played incorrectly. I think even moving from here to here would be considered to move cautiously, even though you are not really moving along the river or thing. But as long as basically both of these hexes that you are traversing into are basically either or, this is considered to be moving cautiously. I just reading a lot of threads on The Geek made me believe that this is how you would play it. Originally, I really said, okay, no, you really have to follow the road and or the river in order to make use out of it, but I may have played it a little bit too rough on myself. Let me know. So we have moved down here, and on the so-called battle mat, we could even more or less note it down. If we move normally or cautiously, I think we can remember. But the next part is already the skill checks for all of our heroes. This is really an element which I really do like about this game. It's really has this very natural RPG feeling around this. Each hero rolls their skill dice separately. You'll succeed if you roll your skill rank or lower. In some cases, there are also chances that you are rolling a critical success, like the hex. So here's the 1 is the hex on this die. Then good stuff will happen, but ultimately we are trying to, more or less achieve the skill roll here. And here I already may have made a stupid mistake, because one of the important rolls right now is the navigate roll. We need to pass it actually with 2 of the heroes. This is kind of a bummer that I'm playing a 3-player game, because you always round against your favor. In this case, so I have to, half of the heroes need to make this navigate roll, otherwise we are wandering around basically. And that is usually, it's really a bad thing actually. It's really a bad thing. But because we moved cautiously this round, navigate automatically succeeds during the skill phase. So this is really amazing in this case. And this is why it's so important until your heroes are leveled up accordingly, so that you will be able to make these skill rolls. These are really very, very crucial. I believe we are still rolling it because we could still roll a critical success, which would be good. So let's roll all of these dice for Valor here. Okay, that wasn't terrible at all. A 10 is always a mishap basically, but in this case, it doesn't really matter too much. So we absolutely failed our navigate roll here, which is bad, but with a 1, that's relatively easy to miss, of course. But we did make our exploration roll, which is amazing. And because we were able to get on with it, I am going to allow myself or award myself with 1 coin. That is already cool. And no, it's actually even cooler. It's 2 coins actually. And these coins do of course not come with the game. Again, you are really supposed to spend your, or basically mark it down on these dry erase boards, which is really getting very, very messy relatively soon. The next important one is the survival roll. If we would have made the survival roll, we were able to find enough food, for example, and in some other instances with a critical success, for example, other good things could happen. But in this case, we simply have to eat. Our food rating for this character is 2, which means we have to consume 2 units of food. So we are already down to 4, but we can survive 2 more days without finding any more food. But getting food is relatively crucial, because terrible things will happen when you go hungry in this game. But that's basically already the role of the Divine One, Valor. Let's move over to Namira. And with her rolls, That was, I think, that's a 9. I think we will not re-roll that. So this was a complete whiff. The navigate roll, of course, is always a hit because we moved cautiously. That is good. We didn't find any gold. And unfortunately, we also didn't find any food here. Her food rating is only a 1, which means she consumes only 1 unit on food. And normally you can carry, I think, yeah, exactly, up to 5 times your initial food rating, which is, again, for her would be 5, but for every food ration you are buying, you get basically 2 units of food. So her roll was basically a whiff. Again, luckily we did move cautiously, so this is ultimately counts as a success. And then last but not least, it's Elwen, our summoner, our elven summoner. Let's see what she's doing. Also extremely unlucky in this case. All of her rolls did whiff. We didn't make this. And again, luckily we were able to move cautiously. We didn't find any gold, and yeah, we didn't find any food. Her food rating is also 2, so we have to eat accordingly. But that's basically already that. And because we didn't end our movement on a city, on a shrine, a boss, or a ruin location, we will have to do this here. If you end movement anywhere else, proceed to the circumstance. So we can flip this placard here to the other side. So we are now rolling for the circumstance, which is this bar over here. And this is a little bit, so the 1 is here, so don't get confused by that. And depending on what we roll, we have to encounter it. Again, because we moved cautiously, we now are allowed to ignore that circumstances. There are certain circumstances in the game which tell you, I think, mandatory or something like that. So these can't be avoided or so. Unavoidable, something is printed on them, but these are basically all good. So let's roll. It's the 1, which would be the tree ends here. In theory, only a level 2, but I don't feel like it. So we decide to ignore those for now. I mean, these are magical creature. The summoner, Elwen, could try to deal with them. But the first round of the game, I really want to go after this encounter, this quest actually. So we will decide to ignore this for today. And then we jump to the event phase. An event occurs if the group ends movement in a city, shrine, boss, ruin, or quest location. And guess what? We are here at our quest location. Attempt to complete a quest. Read the quest card for more details. So let's quickly do that here. So we have this one here. This is our location. It's basically shown here where this quest would be spawned. Uriel, a stubborn dwarven armor smith from clan Flinthammer, has gone missing in the area. His allies fear that bandits, or worse, may have befallen him. Search for the smith near the river. So we are now doing an exploration check, and the good thing, everyone can try to go through this exploration check here. So we will start with Valor. His exploration is a 3. Let's see, and wow, it's a critical success, which is so cool. So we are getting a bonus. So not only were we able to find this one, no, everyone who rolls a critical success also is able to upgrade his defend rating by 1. So that's an immediate upgrade. That is so cool. But let's also roll for Nymira. Her rating is a 5. That's a 6. She unfortunately didn't make it. So right now we are only looking for the hex symbol actually, because we were already able. We only need 1 success on this card. And that's a 9. But I totally take that. So cool. So we are now upgrading his avatar aura from level 4 to level 5. And because we didn't buy the upgrade, we also don't have to strike through these things. I will have to do this with basically a napkin. I will do that off camera. But again, we are moving here from 4 to 5. This could also mean that some of these values will change because they are all calculated. But this is all stuff I will now do off camera. It's really not fun to watch me doing this arithmetics. And indeed, this value, the single empowered recovery, did change from a level 6 to level 7. I take it. So that was cool, and in theory we would now also get this reward down here, which is a power-up card, I believe. These are referred to. Everyone would gain that, independent of who made the roll. This is really a group reward. This is an individual reward. But because we have to cash it in, basically, we have to return to a city to really boast and yeah, basically tell everyone, hey, we have found this flint hammer guy. We could now decide to go after this challenge here, but the problem is, in order to do that, we have to find hex tile K first before we do that. And right now it's not out here, and I really want this power up card. So I think I will not try to go after this challenge here. I will really chicken out in this case, and I'm not 100% sure if we get the critical success right now. I think we do, because the game really doesn't have a memory on this. But of course, this one down here we have to cash in. The way how this works is we are now placing this face down here, and we could in theory go for more quests before we are basically cashing it in. Then we can cash in all the quests at the same time, which would give you an immediate bigger bump here, of course, right? That's the idea. But let's see how the next round will go. And in theory, that's almost the end of the round. We are still doing the Dead King phase. The Dead King doesn't begin on the game board. During this phase, roll the 6-sided die. If you roll a hex, he appears. So let's try to not roll a hex, because I don't want him to return. So that's a 5, already awfully close. And now you could think, hey, if this guy only comes out with a hex, so what's the problem? The problem is, as of the next round, he will appear on a 5 or a hex. So things are getting progressively easier for him to make his appearance. But for now, we are good. And in order to remind ourselves, I will use my little J-play die here on a level 5. So this will hopefully remind me that I have to roll lower the next round to come. But that's basically the entirety of the first game round. Because we didn't fight, things were really, really smooth and simple. But I think you have already seen the most part that this game has to offer. You might want to haste that all. Yeah, again, of course, the things come with this ton of different quests, ton of different circumstances and whatnot, and the different combinations of the heroes. So yeah, even though you have mechanically seen already a lot that this game has to offer in respect to the experience, there's really, really a lot more to explore. I think we may want to head back to Restwindale over here to really cash in our quest, because this is basically a power-up card for all of the heroes here. And from there we could maybe try to make it to this quest. But making it to this quest is not so easy, because we can't move carefully. You see, there is no river, there is no road towards this hex, which is the case for most of the quests as far as I can tell. But I still think this might be the best way to do. We do have some coins now which we can spend. Only 2 though, but still with 2 gold, which we can freely share among characters, by the way. It's not like Gloomhaven in that regard. So I think let's do that. We are again trying to, or we are moving carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, making it back to Restwindale. There is a big risk ending your early rounds in a city, because this is where the Night King, no, the Dead King could make his appearance. And if he makes his appearance and we don't really have a talisman, we will immediately lose the game. There is some debate on the Geek that apparently you're not losing the game. The rules really say you lose the game. If the Night King comes here, you can't fight him, because you also have to fight. He's taking over the city, and you also have to fight against his deadly horde there, and you can only do that with a talisman. And the rules really say if you don't have that talisman at that point in time, you are basically dead. You have lost the game. But then on the Geek, there are some discussions that you can actually still evade from that city. Honestly, I will play it the hard way. I will play by the rules as written and say, if the Night King will make it here, basically at the end of the round, then yeah, we have lost the game. But that's why I started the game with a luck stone, and I might be inclined to buy another luck stone, because this simply allows you to do a reroll, right? That's the idea. Okay, that is cool. We still have to roll our skill dice now. And again, we have moved cautiously, which means we can basically ignore the green die, the navigate die. But ooh, okay, that might be cool. We have rolled two critical hits here. We completely whiffed on the navigate roll, so the divine one doesn't have a clue where he's running around, always walking around. But 2 here is really, really huge. The exploration roll maybe not so much, because it would give you 1 heal. Each hero heals 1 lost health, because we have found an excellent place to make camp. But that is still okay. We are still getting the 4 coins out of this. As for the survival roll, if you roll a critical success on your survival skill, your hero need not consume food and either each hero heals, lost energy oil, and an affliction card affecting the group. Right now we don't have either of those, but the cool thing is we don't also have to consume the food. So that is already helpful. But what's really important here was to make it on the exploration roll, because we got some money out of this. And with money you can buy upgrades and whatnot, so that is cool. Oh wow, she again whiffed her. She has the highest exploration roll by far, but she's not making it. All the others are also whiffed. Good thing is, again, we moved cautiously, but yeah, she has to consume a food now. This sucks. Then last but not least, let's do the same over here, and also a very bad roll. So yeah, only one who's doing extremely well is Valor actually. Not only did he find money, he found enough food for himself. No, he was also able to find this smith basically. Wow, okay, that was huge. We will skip the circumstance step because we ended our movement in a city, which now allows us to interact with the city in multiple ways. First of all, we will definitely cash in our quest card here. And again, this quest card basically gives every one of us a power-up card. We give one individual card to each one of them, so we are not drawing one and apply the result for everyone. There are some variant rules which allow you to basically give this card now to a player where you think it makes sense, but the rules also somewhat recommend not using that because, I don't know, maybe unbalances the game. But again, a lot of these things are very random. It doesn't really matter too much. I will play it as written, of course, but if you really desire, you can basically, let's say, give this thing to another hero. Okay, this is pretty cool, which says we are stronger, +1, pick 3, distribute this bonus between any 3 stats. That isn't terrible, and honestly I think I will definitely assign 1 to the navigate, and I could actually debate also to assign 1 to the survival here, because again we need the navigate. That is really crucial. And then 1 of those I will also up just to make sure that we are rounding in our favor again. So I think this is what I will do. So most likely in these 2 and 1 of these 3, again I will make all these adjustments off camera. And again I decided to up my avatar aura because of the rounding thing. So this basically changed, I think, 3 stats on this over here. So this went to 8, this went to 4, and this went to 3. Again, I will come to all of these special abilities. These are all combat abilities in his case, which is why I'm not going over these right now. But I think it's still important for us. We still have 2 more cards to draw. And of course, this is really the fun part in this game, leveling up your hero. And okay, this is a relatively boring one. Defend, let them try. So we are now upping the Pixie's evade skill up to 4. And I think it doesn't do anything here. No, it doesn't. And last but not least, we have Elowen. Oh, wow, that is cool. Attack and defend, working on my primary. So +1 on both of those. That is cool. Okay, some very cool upgrades. So we are now basically revealing a new quest. And oh, it's also on sea, a survival one. That is so cool. Basically down here on this river tile, so we're taking this one and moving it down here, so we can actually continue moving here and move cautiously if we want to. We have 2 rounds in order to make it there, but I think making a survival roll with one of those could be actually possible. Again, Valor could be the man of the hour with his 4. It's still not great, but at least possible. Okay, next we can interact with Restwindale. Governed by the humble magistrate Aremi, the halflings are a simple folk who have a fierce love for quiet life, a good tale and delicious food. You may purchase luck stones for 1 gold here. So all of these cities come with 1 item that you can buy at a discounted price. And in Restwindale it happens to be a luck stones. And again, rerolls in a game like this can never be a bad thing. So let's have a quick look what we can all buy here. Again, rations for 1. 1 ration gives you 2 units of food, and 4 food can be sold back for 1 gold. Yeah, that's maybe not the bad thing. We can buy a potion. Potion is simply healing. This is the luck stone. Costs normally 2. We get it for 1 here. So I'm really inclined to buy 1 more here at this. We already have a camping gear. We can do all kinds of stuff. The reliable mounts normally cost you 6 per hero, so we would have to spend 18. But I think again we can get them much cheaper down here, I believe, from what I remember. And we can also upgrade our gear down here depending on what we we can spend. I think we don't have the money to do that yet, but on the other hand, I'm still inclined to do that anyway, at least on the exploration. I think we have to do that. The way how this works, and that's also a very cool mechanic, you see these numbers around our values here. The first upgrade costs us 3, 4, 5 gold respectively, and you can do that up to 6 times, at least during the normal upgrading gear action. If you get a bonus from power-up card, these are not affected by those. You can basically go to 20. It doesn't really make sense, but you get the idea. So I think we are spending now 3 money from Whaler. I mean, he's the only one who has some money to basically mark this one here. So we cross it off so we know we have taken it, and then we will do that up to 3. Again, I have to do that with a napkin. That is why I'm not showing this to you, but we have upgraded this from 2 to a 3, which is really huge. Will really help us with our future explorations, at least I hope. For the remaining coin, again, we will spend it. We will go for another luck stone. Oh, this is a health stone. I have to find the luck stones. They are over here. So we already have a luck stone with a scoundrel, with Nymeria. I think this makes sense, but in this case, we will hand it over to Valor. He really earned it, but again, it doesn't really matter. Again, we get it at a discounted price, and you can carry unlimited amount of items in your backpack, by the way, which is a little bit unusual for a game like this, but yeah, I totally take that for sure. So that's basically all we can do at the city, I believe. We are out of money and everything else is basically, yeah, there's nothing else. We could sell the foods for 1 coin, but let's not do that. In this case, I was debating if I should buy a little bit more food. Again, could really take us some time actually to make it to a city, but yeah, let's see how things go from here. And last thing to do is to roll the hex die, and keep in mind we are not looking for a 5 or a 6 in this case. So let's see, and that's a 1. I totally take this, but this will also mean we are reducing this down to a 4. So it's getting more and more likely that the Dead King will appear. I will do one more round this video and then we'll call it, just to give you enough room to correct my errors whenever I made them, or leave in your comments. But we have an interesting decision to make. We have 2 quests that are relatively nearby. We could try to make it here to this quest, which I believe is this one here. It's the 8 thing here. A rider reports that a halfling weaponsmith has been waylaid. So stuff like here. So challenge: join this mercenaries and bring the trader to the shrine in the forest Hextile Age. Again, we don't have the Hextile Age. He will pay each hero 3 gold for every encounter fought along the way. That is not bad, but again, we haven't really found the target location. Because we started the game here at the center of the board, it's also a little bit more difficult for us actually to find more tiles. So maybe in this case we will go for the safer paths down here, which is the survival check. We will not make it there until during this round, but I still think it might be worth it. So let's stay on target, and from here we could then try to maybe move in here actually to explore another tile, so that we will get more opportunities to solve these quests. Let's do that. So we are moving 1, 2, 3, 4 because we moved along the road. We still are moving cautiously, and again, it's still very much important. And by now you have a good handle about this game. So we are rolling our skills. Again, this is an automatic success, and wow, okay, that is not too bad. Again, we don't really care about the green die here, but we rolled a critical success on the blue die here again. I think, yeah, of course, first of all, we don't have to eat food. This is already cool. And I keep forgetting what the critical success does. Yeah, right. Each hero heals 1 lost energy or end an affliction, which is pretty cool, but we don't have it. And in case you're wondering, we do have the camping gear, and the camping gear allows you before your movement phase to actually heal 1 energy and 1 life point back. But so far we haven't lost any. Cool. The not eating part was the important one, but of course our food could really, this could become a problem actually. I didn't really think this through. So let's see, let's roll for her. Oof, again the 6. She's continuously rolling the 6. So basically all that happens, she has to eat 1 food. We might go hungry relatively quickly actually. This could become a problem. Yeah, I don't like that. The good thing is we can give food from other heroes to Nymeria in this case, in order for her to feast. I believe she can eat from there. I think so. That's also complete with... Ooh, okay, that is getting problematic. That is really getting problematic for sure. Again, we didn't really care about this one here. But yeah, we will roll for the consequences. And this time around, if we are rolling a lucky one, like the treants over here, we might actually consider to fight them. Let's see. That's a 3. No, that's the Bone Legion. 22 life points are really something. And oh, they have piercing 2 on their first ability. Triple targeted non-lethal health. Oh, this is really bad. This is really, really bad. No, I think we have to dodge that one, and we can dodge the Bone Legion here, luckily. And one thing we didn't really discuss just yet is the difficulty level of this game. So we have starter, we have easy, we have moderate, we have difficult. My first game I played on starter, which basically doesn't change the game at all. So no change to vitals or damage dealt. But we are also not getting any reward bonuses. So I'm really inclined to go with the easy difficulty level this game. It's already pretty challenging actually, because they do 1 more damage. They get 5 vitals per hero. That's plus 15 on all of those. Though this already will change the game quite dramatically. But I still think, even though it sounds easy, it's really not easy. I mean, 15 more life points is really not just life point, also energy points is quite something in this game. But the good thing is we could gain some extra power-ups because we increased our difficulty level. We would have to roll a die, and on 2 or less we would basically gain an extra power-up card after we defeated an encounter. So I think we should really try to consider that. But yeah, I think that's almost the end of the round. I'm really now a little bit concerned about the food actually. Maybe I should have bought more food instead of the power, but because I already have rolled some dice now, I think I will not take it back. We don't have any money though to buy stuff, so that is a problem. I don't really know. We have 1 more round, right? For food for everyone at least, yeah. So, but we will have to roll for the Dead King. On a 4 or higher he would appear, and in this case, yes, he will appear. So things are already getting pretty nasty. This is where this game really... Although, first of all, we will have to roll again. So where will he appear actually? And that's on city 3 all the way up here. And because he was there, I think he basically will make the city fall. He will take it over, which means we are placing 1 of these tokens on there. And from the next round onward, he will then basically start to roll for his next location, and he will move a base movement of 1 plus the number of cities that have that are fallen basically. So right now he would move at 2. So if his next... Oh, I did think that this is wrong, right? No, this should be going here. Sorry, this is a boss actually. This is the city. Good that I caught it. So from here, he will now try to nail another target, which would be 1 of these other cities. And once all of these cities are fallen, he will simply come after us. And by then he will move 7 spaces. It will not take him long. And maybe in case you're wondering, what are we talking about? The Dead King is really a very, very nasty fellow. He has 180 base health plus the 15, because we are playing on the easy quote-unquote difficulty level, plus 15 more on the energy rating here. So in order to really take him down, it will definitely cost us dearly, but we will be able to level up. But this game is really not easy. It's simply a game where you have to embrace the experience. And again, I'm totally fine in a game like this to whatever die after round 4 or 5. It simply is what it is. It's simply the experience that counts for me. But I was already making some very poor decisions in respect to my food over here. Let me know what you think, but this could really come back to bite me. But yeah, those were the very first 3 rounds of the game, the Valley of the Dead King. I really like this game a lot, despite the very luck-based nature of it. There are some good mitigation elements in the game. So for example, if I wouldn't have liked him to join, I could have spent 1 luck stone here, basically say, let's not come back. But because the chances were already 50-50, I decided let's go for it. I mean, next round he would native experience, and I think having him basically late by 1 round, yeah, could be crucial. I really don't know. I'm not a big pro in this game. But for now, let's leave it at that. And yeah, let me know what you think. Also, let me know what you think I should be doing next. Because I'm somewhat out of money, I can't buy any more food, and you can't carry tons of food with you anyway, right? Again, you are always capped at 5 basically. Otherwise, I really would have spent way more money on food early on in the game. But this is really where you have to balance things out. This is where these survivor or these skills are really very, very crucial to up them so that you get higher chances of getting something out of this, right? You get it. I'm really disappointed by Namira over here because she has the highest HEXplore rating, so she really could have gained a hell lot of money up until now. So I think it could have been easily 6 money, but she whiffed all of her rolls, so that's really somewhat of a disappointment actually. But yeah, we will have to live with that for now, and maybe I will really, depending on who we are facing, I will maybe have to use her a little bit to collect some more gold later on in some of our very first encounters. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to continue my playthrough series here. Again, everything could be over in the turn 4 or 5 or a little bit later. I'm really also curious how long this playthrough will actually last. And again, I will put some more artificial, because it's my first time on camera. If one of our main heroes will die, I might really call it, because by then we typically might not have a chance anyway. If you bring in a new hero, you get basically some starting bonuses, for example, depending on how many of these cities are fallen or so. So they're not really starting from scratch, but still I have to make a cut at some point in time. And then I might really reconsider playing this again. And if I play this again, I might also consider doing this with a storybook here, because things are still a little bit new to me. I didn't want to spoil the experience to you. But again, if you're interested in seeing more of it, and if I die relatively soon, I might really restart it relatively quickly. I will definitely most likely go for new heroes then, because I'm curious, but then I will also go or use the storybook here, which will then have basically some sort of narrative. When you first go into a quest or when you first enter a certain city or so, things will happen. This is really very, very nicely done. Anyway, let me know what you think, and yeah, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos, and until then, bye bye.